And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Ricky Hampton with our great friends, our great friends T. Mcougal and Tim Turner, coming on to you on a Tuesday evening. A little early start tonight, so everybody can get to basketball. Um, Kind of sad it's not being played in downtown Detroit tonight, but wait till next year, as they always say. The NBA playoffs are off to sensational start. And speaking of the NBA playoffs, look who just jumped on our screen last night. One of the legendary figures of the NBA, the one and only Coach Ray Scott, former NBA Coach of the Year. And Ray, I'm so glad you could spend a few minutes with us tonight, especially after what we saw last night in game one of the Western Conference Finals between San Antonio and defending champion OKC. And 7'4" Wimbiana was just spectacular. And Ray, you have seen a lot. You have played against the very best. How did you see last night?
Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. It's so great to be with you as we hope to enjoy this evening before our Knicks and Cleveland get it on. So that's something I'm looking forward to, given that the uh, Cleveland team just smashed my Pistons. But here we are. And then I sat up. I said, I'm going to watch this game that was on last night because I wanted to see what Wemby would do with those first game jitters, because we all get them. And I said, oh, this guy is going to have, probably a mistake prone game, but nevertheless, he's a talent. So I'll watch him. And he took us back to what he showed in the Olympics. And if anybody remembers the Olympics, he was the guy that prodded Curry into making 4 of his last 5 3-pointers, because he too had made a 3-pointer at the other end like he did last night. So I said, okay, I really want to see this guy. And I'm watching the game and I'm going along, and we're coming down to the settlement of the game. And it's 118, 115, and it's in favor of OKC, which is usual. So I'm watching this game, you guys, and I'm seeing a guy 7'4". 7'4". That's taller than Kareem. It's taller than Wilt. That's taller than Shaq. He comes up the floor. He gets to an open spot 35 feet from the basket. And they throw him the ball, and he rises up. And I said to Jennifer, you got to be kidding me. That's a bad shot. And he dropped that shot in like it was a bad habit. I mean, I couldn't believe like Rick, you've referred to it. I've seen these guys. I've seen Hakeem and Moses and Wilt and Russell and Kareem, great centers. I never saw anything like that. I never saw a guy 7.5 feet rise up 35 feet from the basket with pure disdain and drop a 3. That was the first.
What was it? 8 seconds left?
8 seconds left. Game's over. He misses that shot. Game's over. And I was like, that's one of the biggest shots I've ever seen. And I do believe this will live in history, that shot. Because I think it'll begin the story of this kid, Wembanyama. That's what I believe.
And for the game, everybody, he had 41 points, 24 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 48 minutes of play. Just an extraordinary effort of San Antonio winning the OKC and won game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, 122, 115. Tim, you got anything, Coach?
Oh no, I was just thinking about the shot. I mean, he's a 7-foot guy. You know, you think they're gangly, and I keep saying, why couldn't he stay one more year? And the Hawks had they were picked the next year, but there's nobody in Atlanta that could improve his game. Because I'm thinking, you saw who was in the stands last night. He had the Admiral, and Tim Duncan, and I'm quite sure they worked him out and have improved his game. So I'm thinking that he's in the right place, the right franchise, and that San Antonio OKC, they're going to run the West for a very long time. It looks like.
Looks like. Yeah.
I know it had me screaming and yelling at the television screen for sure. I was like, it was so great to see and so amazing. And it's just, yeah. I was thinking about it just a couple of years ago, people couldn't pronounce his name right. And now everybody's loving him, right?
Oh,
well,
except
for the opponent teams, of course. Yeah. But yeah, it's really turned around. Yeah.
I thought in the when I watched him in the Olympics is where I really bought in, because the Olympics of today that we know in basketball is showcased because everybody sends their pros. So I said, depending on how he does there, I'll make an evaluation. But when I watched the Olympics, he just came across as a good basketball player. But I didn't see, or didn't want to believe, I guess, that there was an exceptionalism there. Well, folks, there's an exceptionalism there.
But you know what it shows there though, Ray, what the deal is, and it's like all these European guys, when they come over here, they're fundamentally sound and they can do everything.
Yes.
The big men in the United States cannot dribble.
Yes.
Wemby takes it from end to end.
Yes.
Okay? He shoots threes.
Yes.
He's a great passer. Everything about his game, you see him. You would see Dirk Nowitzki when he came over. Most, Luka Doncic. These guys. I mean, Luka was playing against grown men when he was 16.
Yes.
So when those guys, so there's no excuse for American basketball players to be as limited as they are. It is by choice.
Oh yes, by fundamental choice.
Yes.
Because that's the way we were taught to play. If a kid walked into a locker room and he was 6'5" tall, he was a big man, automatically. No matter what the teaching was, the teaching was going to be fundamental along the lines of his size. Where in Europe, the teaching is along the lines of developing your skill. And that's what's going on. And that's the variance that we have. We saw it. We've seen it with Jokic. He's not even hesitant about shooting a three-pointer. Not even hesitant. But it's just not in the teaching of the game fundamentally. It's teaching spacing on the floor. It's teaching how to dribble. It's teaching how to see the floor. It's the Euros have done a good job expanding, in my opinion, the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but along those same lines, though, again, Wemby's in the perfect spot because Greg Popovich is used to international players.
Yes.
You got Duncan from the Bahamas.
Yes.
You got Ginobili, who's from somewhere in South America. They had like about 6 guys from different countries on the Spurs at one time.
Yeah.
And because the coach was an Air Force guy and was used to people being from around the globe, he didn't have a problem.
Yes. And he spoke the language because he was Serbian.
Right.
Although he was military, he also was tied to the language of Europe. And so there was no intimidation there.
Right.
But I get so sick of Pop coming up with these excellent players that we've never heard of. Since Avery Johnson,
Right.
you talk about Manu, he just, Kawhi is like that's like, I don't know how do we do, it's like his goal piece. And I say to my brother all the time, who are these guys that Pop has? It's not like we've seen him in the Final Four. It's not like we've seen him excel all season somewhere. And then I'm looking at him and I'm going like, gosh, are these guys really good? Pop, I'm getting sick of you making all these discoveries because that says something, and I'm not getting what it's saying, but that says something about the NBA and what they're doing, how they're scouting and what they're developing.
Well, San Antonio has a superb scouting department. They got him right now. Kelvin Johnson, I'm watching him last night. He had 13 points. I had no idea who this dude was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Dylan Harper, I knew of him because of his father, rookie, 24 points. Castle and Vassell, the back-to-back years. Champagne, however they pronounce. I'm like, who are these cats, man?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll know their names. If you don't pull them out, you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they're not household names until right now, and they'll be household names by the end of June when they're in the, if they make it to the NBA Finals and that kind of thing. People, only people that sounded they were like an open secret.
But I do want to go back to something. Tim mentioned it, and you expounded on it. The development of the European players compared to our players, because we obviously have tremendous athletes. Clearly, the instruction is not what it needs to be. And I know I hear a lot of people blame AAU basketball. And if you do go to AAU basketball, Tim and Tree, I know y'all seen it. They just run up and down the court. But right, but they're still playing. You'd be running up and down the court, but there's no learning going on.
Yeah,
right?
I can't put that on AAU, and I won't put that on AAU, and I'll tell you why. The way that the guys have been taught to play basketball in America, what we found has been we stymied ourselves because we said we taught kids this was fundamental basketball. That's what the first issue was. So that's the way it was taught to us. I know I was one that was taught by John Chaney and Sonny Hill and those guys in Philadelphia. They wanted me to so badly be 6'9" and swing hooks left and right and shoot off the baseline and bang the boards and block shots. I mean, there was a prescription. In Europe, they said, yeah, we're going to do that, but we're also going to play out on the floor. Remember, Timmy, we weren't allowed as big guys to go out on the floor.
No, You see where that paint is? That's where you live.
That's what I'm talking about.
You not come outside that paint at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to tell this quick story real quick. My high school, North High School, Nashville, Tennessee, had a really good team. Lost in the state championship. One of our best players was my great friend Charles Johnson, who was a center. Charles came down. He was our center now. And he had 3 straight jumpers. Coach Wright called timeout, timeout. He goes to the bench. Johnson, what are you doing shooting outside shots like that? Never mind that he hit 3 straight. It's like, get your behind under the basket.
Right. Yeah. You on the block. Get down there on the block.
What, man?
It's provided, I think, for incredible entertainment in the game. And I'll tell you why. It gives us something to shoot for now. There's no more of we run the game from the American side.
That's true.
I think now it says, guys, we got to get players better. One of the players I see coming with some of that European game is the Holmgren kid. He's 7-footer, and he plays. I like him because he's scrappy, and I liked him last night when I looked at him because he was scrapping with Wemby. They were tying each other up. They were beating the dog doo-doo out of each other. So that showed me something. He's got a fight, and they're champions, he's a champion. But they're, in my opinion, as you move around America, there are not a lot of guys like that. There's a couple of guys out in California. We happen to be blessed with one in Michigan this year. And that coaching, in my opinion, that he had in Europe, that 7-footer, Amadia, I think brought us a championship.
Yeah.
His flexibility.
And
Because he could pass. Not because I didn't say play, I just said pass.
Right.
He's not a great player. And you'll find that out in the NBA.
well, I see he's expected to go in the top 10 of the draft.
I'm sorry?
Some mock drafts have Mara going in the top 10.
What's his last name?
Mara.
The
What's his first name?
7-foot-plus kid in the middle.
Mara from Michigan. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, because I know some mock draft, the Hawks have a draft pick at 8, and there was a Michigan kid they were talking about getting. And I was wondering if it was him or somebody else, or another Michigan kid.
Yeah, the top Michigan kid is Yaxel.
Yeah.
That kid will be a number 1 pick, no doubt.
Yeah, but
But
it's like
he
so the
plays-
players. Your game tonight. What do you think about the Cleveland Knicks series, and do you think Cleveland can do what they need to do to take out the Knicks?
Well, they begin their hand with 2 7-footers, and that's a good beginning.
Mm.
You know, Allen and Mobley. Well, when you can start, your investment into a playoff with 2 7-footers, that's pretty good. And then you got a couple of Hall of Famers at guard. I think the Knicks, and I don't hear anybody giving credit to that man over there, but I do because I see what he's done.
Mike Brown.
Mikey Brown has done a great job, and he's got to be somewhere else other than New York to get the credit that he deserves, in my opinion.
There was after the first game against Atlanta, I was listening. I like to listen to other stations. I listen to WFAN out of New York, and they were ready to run him out of town. They were running Cat out of town.
Right.
They were dogging like 3 or 4 people saying this Knicks team needs to be blown up, after that one game because they said there's no way. He says no disrespect to McCollum, but 35-year-old man should not be beating us like that. You know, they were going all in all morning long, and it's like the Knicks are the worst team in the NBA. Now it's like, you know, they're planning the parade down Madison Avenue. You know, for the regular champions. It's hard to be working in New York because, you know, all it takes is one bad game, and you're trapped. So they
Well,
say,
you didn't have
especially
to
right
have a
now, they
bad
said,
game.
what's the new? It's the other guy that they keep hacking all the time for the Knicks. His personal trainer said Mike Brown is too soft to coach in New York. This is after the first game, okay?
Yep.
The first
Yep.
game.
Oh,
Yep.
ye of little faith.
Exactly.
Who said that? Who said he was too
The personal trainer for one of the players went to the media and said that Mike Brown was too soft to coach in New York.
And they wrote that? I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, anybody will say something negative. They probably say the Uber driver coming over said, you know.
So Tim, watch who you speak to, okay?
Exactly. I gotta watch my mouth.
Watch your mouth. So let me ask you this, Ray. So we've had a lot of notable NBA players who are, as it described as back in college, working in different capacities, like Damian Lillard, general manager at Weber State, or Shaq. Well, he's volunteer general manager at Sacramento State. Steve Curry, assistant GM at Davidson. Cats like that. Trey Young, assistant GM at Oklahoma. What's your thoughts on those players? That's just a few that I've named.
Yeah, I think that recycle is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way that some of the things that we're talking about happening.
Mm-hmm.
These are the types of guys we're going to see it happen with. I think the guy at the very top right now for me, watching him bring about the change, has been Mike Brown, because he's made Cat a much more effective big man. He doesn't score as much, but he plays better. And I think the new teaching of, if you're on the floor, be on the floor getting something done, not looking for your shot. And he's taken that mindset, it seems to me, away from Cat, where Cat plays in the concept of being a 7-footer that can how can I say this? He can make something happen on the floor now. And that was not the case with him, as we know, in seasons gone by. He struggled to try to make things happen for himself. And what I've seen lately is he's been working to make things happen for his team. And that comes about, to me, through the coaching of Mike Brown.
Hey, Ray, on a personal night, you having won, you're being the first black man to win the NBA Coach of the Year. And now to see black coaches hired and fired all the time in the NBA, not even a big deal. And to see JB Bickerstaff winning the NBA Coach of the Year a couple of days ago, how does that make you feel on a personal level? To see how far it's come, the guys like you and Bill Russell and Lenny Wilkins, it was a small fraternity when you were doing it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's amazing, because we know that you had to be a hybrid in the old days. I just happened to have Bob Lanier and Dave Bing, two Hall of Famers, usher me into that seat as the Coach of the Year. And I knew that would only last as long as they would listen to what the system is. See, the guys the JB Bickerstaff, if you look at, I talked to my brother about this today. If you look at the Detroit Pistons and you say, Who is their outstanding player? Who are their players? One, Cade Cunningham. Other than that, everybody plays their positions. They won 60 games this year with a point guard from the G League. From the G League. And they didn't have shooting forward. They had Jaden. Jaden's gone, so there's no shooting guard. And so our dependency was on that one guy, Cade Cunningham. But the kid came along in the middle, gave him a 20-point year, which is phenomenal. He did it, and he did it so unbelievably that no one even, where did this Durham guy come from? So there was never any established number 2 guy, in my opinion. But unbelievably, Tobias had a great run until he hurt his hip. A lot of people don't know, for the last 3 games, Tobias was out there on courage because he hurt his hip trying to guard Mitchell. And when he got hurt, then I said, that's it. There's always that injury that can take you out in the playoffs and leave you less effective. You can play, but you're less effective. Always that. And that's the one injury that scares you to death because you're still living and dying.
The Pistons' depth, they didn't have, behind Cade and Harris, they really didn't have anybody. Harris was a good number 2. Even hurt, he was a good number 2. But number 1, as Ricky made mention throughout the playoffs, Cunningham shouldn't have been the ball handler. He's not a guard.
No. You know what he is? You know what he is, Timmy? In the old days, and I came to realize it in the new days, some of these guys are the team's best player, but they're not position players. Now you say, what do you mean, Ray? Well, I went back and checked it out. You know who was not a point guard or a shooting guard? Jerry West. You know who was not a power forward or a small forward? Elgin Baylor. They were simply the best players on their team. Oscar Robertson wasn't a point guard, a little scatter point guard. He was simply the best player. So you clear out those games, you clear out the side and give them the ball. And that's what began to occur to me. I said, you can't put these guys mentally in your head by position. You just have to say, that's the best player on the floor. I want him on the floor in crunch time.
Hey, Ray, I'm sorry, Tim. I was just going to say, I just read a couple of minutes ago, the Pistons plan on re-signing Jalen Duran. Everybody's disappointed in him. He went from averaging 20 a game to 10 a game in the playoffs. But the general manager, Trajan Langdon, said he's 22 years old. Yeah, we're going to keep him around.
Yeah. You don't trade 22-year-olds.
Now, you're talking about the best player on the team, and there's a mentality of a person who says they're the best player or one of the stars. Would you agree?
I'm sorry, say that again, Timmy.
So there's a mentality that's associated when somebody is looked at as the best player or one of the best players on a team. There's a mentality of somebody being the best player. There's a responsibility in being one of the best players, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm looking back at the Lakers being swept. And I know soft tissue injuries hurt. I know they hurt.
From experience?
Yes, very much so.
All right, you threw it out there. I had to ask.
Thank you.
That's your
I pulled the muscle when I was circling Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, but that's for another day. Luka Doncic not suiting up at all in that series. I look at him totally different now.
Yeah.
I mean, for you not to even to play a minute in a series.
Well, that's the Embiid injury. Those are injuries that you have the guys jumping in and out, in the lineup tonight, out of the lineup tomorrow night. We lived through that with Blake Griffin. He was you go to the gym, you never know what you're going to say. I lived through that with Bob Lanier. You go because he had those, but he indeed had serious knee injuries.
Mm.
And so it puts in the player's head, should I or should I? How do I feel? What do I think? And it totally takes away from, I'll give it a shot, or I'll tough it out, or, I'm from the era, we had an 81 game schedule, and the goal of everybody's on the team was to play 81 games.
So right
That's,
now, I guess you're basically, it's like you get what you get. Hello, see what I
yes,
did
yes,
there?
yes. And the reason
That's the name of
that,
our show. You get what you get.
because of the wealth. Psychologically, I don't believe guys are playing for the status of the team. They're playing for their own personal status.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. And this is I want your thoughts on this, Ray. And I'm glad too you brought up Luka Doncic. And that's why I'm not big on the Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson has the balls. He has too much. I just don't think teams can win when one guy is just got the ball. It's 24 seconds. He got the ball 18 of those 24 seconds.
Uh-huh.
And I think as great as they are, teams are going to load up on them and make them ineffective. Brunson might get 30 points tonight, but he might have to take 28 shots to get it.
Right. Well, it's a system. That's why I love what J.B. Bickerstaff did. It caught him because, as we said earlier, he didn't have the number 2 scorer. He didn't have the buttress that you needed to get to the championship level. But doggone it, that cast that he had got him 60 wins. And I think any coach starting out a year will take 60 wins. And there's not a whole lot of coaches that can do what J.B. Bickerstaff did. Provide a system that anybody that goes out there on the floor can play in his system. And he had, quote unquote, non-shooters, people that they designated as non-scorers. These guys, there's the ocean there, they can't throw the ball in that ocean.
That ocean's pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Now you mentioned J.B. Bickerstaff, and I think I remember he was fired in Houston.
Yes.
So the deal is, it is as much on having the players to work with, in addition to whatever your assistant.
Yes.
Because when he left Houston, he was an awful coach.
Well, Cleveland.
In Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, Cleveland.
In Cleveland, excuse me, he left Cleveland. He was an awful coach. So,
right.
Hey, but
one thing there, and you make my argument for me. As a coach, when you think about it, you're not front office and you're not on the team, but you're only as good as that guy sitting up there in that general manager's hat is with dealing with the owners. As long as that general manager can sell you to the owner, you pretty much have a job. But the minute that you incur the wrath of the owner or the general manager, As a coach, you're done. You have no protections. And so J.B. Bickerstaff has found that life in the NBA already.
Yeah.
But because I know his dad and we're friends, and I don't know the young man, but boy, he's done. He won 6. That is incredible. I was just talking to my brother about this today. I said, "Do you realize that man won 60 games, and he doesn't have a set?" You said earlier we talked about Tobias, but he got it from here, there, and everywhere on his team. It wasn't just one guy or two guys every night, and if it was one guy, it was Cade.
Yeah.
It was Cade. That was his go-to. But when Cade was out, I think he won 14 of the 20 games that Cade missed. That's incredible to me.
He has them playing so hard. But Ray, there was something you mentioned. We talked earlier today, and what you are enjoying about the playoffs is truly a changing of the guard in the NBA now.
Yes.
SGA just won his second MVP. You know, you look at LeBron James will be retiring this year. Steph Curry's, you know, in the latter stages of his career. Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, all these stars of a decade ago are on their way out. And you got kids like Cunningham and you know, Brunson in New York, and as I mentioned, SGA, and of course Wimbiana, who are just the next generation of stars in the National Basketball.
And I'm sorry, was there a question there?
Yeah. What you expound on that from our conversation earlier today? With these young guys coming through.
Oh, I think the NBA is in good hands. Going back to the conversation we were having earlier in terms of coaching. So they are now going overseas and cherry picking guys and bringing them over that can play. We never even heard of. That's Popovich. And the one guy. Maybe y'all find it strange, maybe not. The one guy that is picking off cherries here in our country is Popovich. He's the one guy. Everybody else is trying to go overseas. Everybody else is still trying to go to the universities, etc. But Popovich finds some guy named Joe Smith, 6'5" with big hands that can jump out of the gym, and the next thing you know, he's in the lineup, and he's an American. That's where we're finding those exceptional American players that we never even heard of down in San Antonio. And Pop is still there. He's still got his fingers in the pie, from what I see. So that's interesting. See, what's going to interest me fully is how San Francisco rebuilds, because it's over. There's not going to be a rebuild on the fly, in my opinion. They have to.
Curry only got a 2-year contract.
I'm sorry.
So Curry only he just signed a 2-year contract. So if it's going to be a rebuild, it better be a quick one.
It better be a quick one. And I don't know if for one of those years he's going to rely on Curry as his linchpin. Curry is as great as they come, but he can't give you 81 games.
And not only that, you're in the West, man.
Yes.
Past OKC and San Antonio. The next 6 or 7 years. And bro, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
That's correct.
I mean, the stars are right now. You got the OKC and San Antonio. Minnesota's still a good team. Denver's still a good team. East is still a good team. I mean, you look at the West is where it's happening. It's the East is the one that has the problem.
Right. But
No,
but the East only has to get one bite of the pie.
right. Yeah.
You know, they're still lucky. They don't have to. They are, but what are they? They're always number two, no
Right.
matter what. They're the second best team in the league. So that, and I don't disagree that that's problematic, because it's problematic. But
So sorry, Tim, for your
The
I'm
loss.
Lakers,
sorry.
Sorry.
the
Say
Lakers
that
had
again?
that for years. The Lakers had that for years. They cruised through the West and had to catch Boston or Philadelphia,
That's right.
Right.
but it was nobody to challenge them over in the West, and now it's switched. Hey, Ray,
Right.
we're gonna switch topics here, man. And get ready to close this thing down and get ready for the game. Hey, but we're going to just. I was wondering if you knew Charlie Neal, the great Charlie Neal, at all.
Yes, good
Broadcast.
man. Charlie Neal's a Philadelphia boy.
I did not know that.
Went to Villanova. Yeah, he's Philadelphia kid. He's from North Philly. Yeah, yeah. He was with me in my Coach of the Year here in Detroit. He came right after I was Coach of the Year, and then he came with Channel 4. And but it was, he was a homeboy. He's a homeboy, and we were hoping to have a trip and go to Bermuda. Yeah, we wanted to go to Bermuda, and but it'll have to wait. He's in heaven now.
I mean, can't we go? Can we all go?
Well, we can ask.
Yes.
And just,
We can do a show from Bermuda, Bermuda. I'll be all for that. But he helped bring HBCU sports
Yes,
into our homes.
yes.
Yeah, one of the best to do it. Well, great, man. We really appreciate you, brother. Who you like tonight? Who you like in game one tonight? Before we get out of here,
Are they playing in the Garden?
they are in. Yep.
If they're playing in the Garden, I'm gonna like the Knicks in the Garden, because I think Mike, I think he has a team that's built for the Garden.
You're not
And I think
concerned they haven't played in.
the familiarity with the lines and Madison Square Garden, I think makes them a little more comfortable there.
You're not worried about their layoff.
No, not at this stage. No, because what you try to do with layoffs like this, if you're smart, is you try to heal. You try to get those little injuries, those Timmy, those soft tissue injuries that you had.
So what's your prediction, Ricky? And then Tim.
I'm cheering for the Cavs. I hope they win 4 straight. I would love the Pistons to have swept them. I am not a Knicks fan. So
I think Ricky's clear about he's not a fan.
I got some biases going on here.
Understandable.
After they destroyed the Hawks in that last game in Game 6, it's just like, that was, the worst game I'd ever seen. It was almost as bad as the football game that we'll never mention again, the Falcons and the Patriots. But I want to see Cleveland and San Antonio in the finals, to watch the NBC, the network executives' heads explode, because you got 2 really small market teams out there.
Well, I hope your teams that you are supporting and talking about will fulfill your dreams for this evening in the finals. Yes.
Hey, Ray, I hope you'll check back in with us a little later on in the playoffs and get your perspective.
Look forward to it.
So good to see you, Ray.
Okay.
Good to see you, my dear.
That is the
Be
great
well, my
Ray
friend.
Scott, NBA Coach of the Year. Let me tell you, man, when Ray is impressed by a guy's performance, I mean, that's saying something. I mean, really, last night, when he pulled up for that jump shot.
No, good shot.
Say what, Tim?
No, good shot.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was like, what?
I said, I mean, obviously OKC can beat them, but I think that's their 5th straight win over them this year.
It is. That's the deal. I'm saying San Antonio has their number. So that's what I'm trying to think is going to be the Spurs out of the West because they can't find a way to figure it out. Granted, I saw after the game this guy Williams who played. He said, they said did Wembanyama have an impact on you guys? They said the guy is 8 feet tall.
Yeah, a little bit of impact there. Yeah, for sure.
It was like a little bit of an exaggeration, but maybe with his arms raised, yes, 8 feet tall. But he was saying, so there was an impact. So they haven't figured him out yet.
Yeah.
They have so many players on their team that are good. I think that's the other thing.
Treat that is so true.
Yeah. What's up, the guy who's he's a rookie? Is it Parks or
Dylan Harper?
Harper. Yeah, his dad playing in the NBA. Yeah.
24 points last night.
Yeah, so good. They're all good. All good.
But Wembanyama's impact, it may have been McBride last night that got free, had a route to the basket, and he saw Wembanyama. Instead of getting there and laying up, he just kept going and went back down and started like, nah. I mean, that's 2 points.
Yeah.
That's 2 points eliminated right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an assist that they got. That Wembanyama was like maybe a foot from away from the basket. All the dude did was throw it as high as he could throw it, and Wemby just caught it and just laid it and just dropped it behind his head into the basket.
Yeah, that was a beautiful thing to see.
What do you do with that? What do you do? They tried to beat him up, and I know. See, we leaned at the shoulder in Caruso and knocked him over. I thought he was going to get ejected again, but he said it wasn't a foul. It was more of a flop. But he's a dog in him for sure. And I guess he started getting beat up by everybody.
We're getting a little bit tougher. Yeah.
And if you notice, they're giving Caruso the 3-pointer. I think they said this guy's not going to hit that shot all series.
SGA is going to have to beat us. And that's what they said, okay.
But, I mean, and you talk a lot about that shot, but Wemby's blocks were
well, you don't leave your feet and you're swatting stuff away like you're hitting nets.
Yeah, just snatch it and grab it and just like, it's a great game.
It was.
I wish I just thought I should have asked Ray about what he thought about Anthony Edwards going over to the Spurs bench.
8 minutes to go in the game.
Talk about being beat into submission. This guy gives over 8 minutes to go. Did you have a
shake it out his hands?
Did you have a problem with that?
I did, because it was like anything could happen in the final 8 minutes. Granted, it wasn't gonna happen, but anything could have happened. As long as it's not triple zeros, you don't give up on it. Unless it's like really realistic. Yeah, if you're down by 20 with four minutes to go in the game, it's not gonna happen for you. I understand you're getting beat down, but that was a bit much to take for him doing that. And I'm quite sure the people in Minnesota couldn't have been thrilled about it. And they won't say it. They won't say it because he's like, that's their best player.
And if I'm a teammate, I'm pissed about it. Dude, I've been cheering for you all year, sitting over here. I'm getting a chance to play, and you over here with the other team.
Right.
I mean, damn, I'll be cheering for you when you have a dunk or something.
I don't think so.
That probably speaks to a little division in that locker room. I mean, I don't know. but that's just not a good look, not a good sign.
No.
And it doesn't matter if they're the tightest team in the world; they were not going to beat San Antonio. I just injuries can ruin everything. You remember Greg Odom went down, Sam Bowie, who was an outstanding player and would have been a very good NBA center, just could never stay on the floor. So you never know what could happen with these guys. And I hope he stays healthy for a long time because I enjoy watching the guy play.
Just to see that guy that big, being that talented, having all-around talents, great passer, great shooter, his defense is off the charts. And just that one block that Holmgren got on him late in that game, that was just, to me, outstanding with the Thunder. But those cats, they're going to be good for a long time because they got some high draft picks again this year. And there's rumors out there that the Wizards are talking with the Thunder about trading and getting the number 1 pick again this year, which would be just criminal. They shouldn't allow that to happen. They already got a good team. Why are you going to give them somebody? Because this class coming out this year, a ton of guys are really good.
And Trey, OKC is not a slouch.
No.
San Antonio had to do all that to beat them. Remember that. And they're the big champion. And they got a ton of draft picks, man. Right. But, we were talking earlier, and we didn't get into it as much as I like, about the development of our American players. I do a show with Paul McCuskey all the time, and he says we're going to get our butts kicked in the 28 Olympics if we don't start developing our players. And he thinks it's too late. When you look at all the MVP, SDA is another foreign player who's an MVP.
Dude's from Canada. He's from Canada. It's going to be France and Germany, because Germany won the Worlds last time. You got Dennis Schroeder up there being a standout player, but he wasn't the best player on the team. They're cats we never heard of that are coming over that are going to be really playing really well. So France is a great team. I think that there's a kid on the Thunder that is from France that played with Wemby on the Olympic team. On San Antonio. It was the Thunder.
That's Champagne.
Okay, yeah.
Champagne.
Yeah. Champimple. I don't know what his name is.
So you guys better get in shape and get ready. Step in.
Yeah. Right?
Who is this dude? I was speaking of, are we teaching enough in high school and college before these guys? Because Ray didn't think that AAU is a problem. From talking with my son who coaches, he thinks it's a problem because guys just want to shoot the three and try to drive the lane and dunk it.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. It's a shoot a three, dunk. There's no mid-range jumper. There's no really playing defense. There's no really honing your other skills. You just run with
fundamentals. No fundamentals.
None. The big fundamentals was in the stands last night. That's the fundamentals.
They were where?
The big fundamental that was called Tim Duncan. He was in the stands. That's the last fundamentals anybody saw.
That is one of the great nicknames in basketball. And that's what he was. Because Tim Duncan was not jumping out the gym or any of that, man. He was highly Kevin Mcougal was a highly fundamental player.
Right. Kevin Garnett was talking about no, not in my day, no. Kevin Garnett was talking about how Tim Duncan would talk trash, but it wouldn't be trash that you would normally expect. People say all these kind of vulgar, crude things. He said, Timmy will go, nice one. Nice try. Almost had it. That was him trash talking. Next thing you know, he said, you look around, he got 35 points, 15 rebounds. You can't get in his head because he's not affected by you talking about all this other stuff. That's what you're talking about him, the big fundamental and just a quiet assassin out there.
And for some people today, that's just boring basketball. Well, I need a boring basketball player here in Detroit, I tell you. Just go out there and get the job.
I like the classes.
you know.
I know,
So,
Tree, you were talking about the college graduation stuff too, weren't you, for a second there? I know we
It
had
was, but
Shaq.
you know what? We've got like 1 minute. Perhaps
Okay.
that'll keep because isn't the game about to start?
yeah, but we
Oh,
got time to
yeah.
give Shaq a shout out. He got his master's from LSU, his where he went to undergrad.
Yeah, he was about to step too. And what did you say, Tim?
Oh
About
yeah,
to step.
he was about to destroy the stage out there in the old Coliseum. He just never get out there and do the hop because when he raised up, I was like, oh please, no, don't hurt nobody.
But it's really more so, Ricky, about where they are helping out universities. So, like as I mentioned, John Wall is president of basketball operations at Howard, or
That's
Malcolm
interesting.
Brogdon, a strategic advisor in men's basketball at University of Virginia. Trey Young, assistant, well, I can't read that, something, GM in Oklahoma. So
He needs to stay
Steph,
over there. That was his alma mater. He needs to stay in Oklahoma. As long as he don't
or
come back
Steph,
to this.
assistant GM at Davidson, where he went to school, which is
Yeah,
also
right.
so having them associated with these colleges, or that also is a draw for potential players for recruitment, right? So
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you got a bunch of people doing that in football too, Tree.
yeah,
Working with the program, and of course Stephen Curry has a relationship with the Howard University golf team.
mm,
Yeah, and politically speaking, a lot of people are saying with all this redistricting going on that it would be great if some of these athletes would go to HBCUs in the
yes.
states that are trying to redistrict. But I'd definitely be great. I just don't think we're there yet.
Well, I don't know. Take their talents
There is
where.
a story out there. There's a story out there today that was talking about that very thing, that the NAACP officially has asked these black college athletes not to go play in states where they're doing these redistricting things.
I miss that.
Hey, we got
So
to.
that would be
That would be something.
We'll talk about that more next week. That's really interesting, and something is going to have to be addressed. But until then, we definitely want to thank our friend Ray Scott for checking in. And for my friend Tim Turner and Chief McDougal, I'm Rick Hampton. See you next week. Enjoy the game, everybody.
All right. Be kind, everybody.